All right, so next up we have Ingrid Backstrom. She is a co-founder of Safe As and a professional skier. She grew up locally skiing at Crystal Mountain and has appeared in over 20 ski movies and has been professionally skiing for about 15 years. She's here today to talk about her Safe As clinics and the history behind her work. Thank you, Ingrid.
Hi there. Thanks so much for having me, NWAC. Thanks, everyone, for being here. And thanks, Sherry. I am not an Avalanche educator. I have basically been a ski bum for the past 20 years. So I'm very much coming from a place of my friends and I had an idea to start Safe As clinics in 2012. So we're coming on our 8th year. And in that time, we have had nearly 1,000 participants, and we've raised close to $35,000 for charity doing these clinics. So it's this little idea that we had 7 years ago in Tahoe that's now turned into this really cool thing. So I'm really psyched to be here to talk about that, but I'm definitely not coming from a place of I know how to Avalanche educate. I'm coming from a place of this is what we've done, this is why we started it, and it's very much a collaborative process and one that we hope to improve upon, and it's been great to hear everyone's comments today, and just, I hope to get through this in time to have questions, because I also want to hear your guys' comments, and we hope to just continue to build and make it better and better. So, if I can figure out how to work this thing. Yes, I did it. Okay. So why did we start Safe As Clinics? Safe As Clinics was started in Tahoe in 2012 with this, what's going on with all the words down there? Okay, anyways, that's just, I don't know what's happening with the words, but it doesn't matter. This lovely group of people are myself and my co-founders. There's Sherry McConkey, Lel Tone, myself, Elise Sogstad, Michelle Parker, and Jackie Peso. And it's a group of professional skiers, ski bums. Lel Tone is our Avalanche educator, and Sherry McConkey is a philanthropist and yoga instructor. And the idea for the clinics came about because we had all been very much to what everyone's been talking about today, those positional, as Jordy was talking about, those positional skiers. I'm not talking about this from a women versus men standpoint because there's a lot of, anyways, I won't get into that, but I was a woman often going out with a group of all men, and I was very determined not to be the wimpy chick in the group, and so I was willing to not speak up and risk being risky in order to appear cool and like I was more tough than maybe I actually was. And over several experiences with different Avalanche education, beacon training, stuff like that, I would find myself just kind of playing along, acting like I knew stuff that I didn't, because I didn't want to give away that I didn't know, what I was supposed to know. And Avalanche education, especially maybe in Tahoe at that time, or maybe it was just people I was hanging out with, it was very macho, and it was very much like, oh, you don't know, it was like, Tahoe, bro, you gotta be, very, it was all about being experienced, being cool, and being tough. So we had each separately encountered our own version of these types of dynamics and had seen a lot of close calls, near misses, and in Elise Sogstad's case, she's a good friend of mine, she was the only survivor of the Tunnel Creek Avalanche on the backside of Stevens Pass in 2012. And so collectively, we got together and we were like, this is, we'd seen accidents with friends, and it was like, we, first of all, need to all get together and take an Avalanche class. Second of all, we want to do something about this for ourselves and for our friends and for the greater community. So the key catalyst in this entire operation is Lel Tone. She's right there in the purple top. And pretty much anyone you talk to who's met Lel or encountered Lel is like, oh, she's amazing. She's been my mentor. I don't know how she's mentored. She's like managed to mentor pretty much everyone. But she's just that type of person. She will take you under her wing and tell you everything she knows and help you feel that you are, no matter what level you're at, that you're meant to be there and that she will help you and that she's going to make it great for you. So we recognize the need. We had all had these own experiences, and we decided we were like, we need to further our Avalanche education, so 6 of us got together and took an Avalanche course with Lel as our teacher. And before each of us had found Avalanche education to be kind of something we rushed through, we pretended we knew stuff, it was kind of a drudgery, and I'm not saying about any of our teachers, it was just maybe where we were at the time. And then all of a sudden with Lel, this Avi 1 class was fun. We were having a great time in the classroom. We were all super involved, asking all the questions. We stayed afterwards to do beacon training in the dark with our headlamps. After class was over, we missed a powder day to get together and practice beacon training. We were like, what's going on? What did she do to us? Did she cast some sort of spell on us? All of a sudden, Avalanche education to us had become this dynamic thing, something we weren't ashamed to not know what we didn't know, something we were excited to ask questions and learn more. So we wanted to see if this could be something that other people might want to participate in too, and we focused on women because we had had this experience in this Avalanche course of all women, and it had been kind of transformative. So we started, our first one was in Squaw Valley in 2012, and the other thing is that we were all kind of traveling around and seeing, I remember being on the backside of Blackcomb and seeing all these people kind of wander out the gate onto the glacier with their skis on their back, over their shoulder with no avalanche equipment, and we were starting to kind of see this everywhere, and so we realized that there is a need for kind of an entry-level avalanche education to just get that basic awareness, and hopefully, through that, make avalanche education, avalanche awareness, something that everyone talked about on the lift, the same way you'd maybe get on the lift and talk about the weather or the storm that's going to come in. We really wanted to make it cool and something that was normal and okay to talk about, because there are a lot more people getting into the backcountry. So our approach was to deliver the practical stuff. We wanted to deliver the information. It's an airy Intro to Avalanches course that we teach. So that's the curriculum that we teach. We do 4 hours of classroom time in the morning. Well, we do yoga first, then 4 hours of classroom time. And our approach was we wanted to deliver that practical information of the airy course, but we also wanted to add some other stuff that we had felt was important to us on our kind of learning journeys. And also have an entire afternoon on the mountain of beacon training, group rescue practice drills. So making the scary non-scary, we've seen all these statistics today of the fatalities and everything, and it's enough to kind of just make you want to stick your fingers in your ears and I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to stick my head in the sand, and it's really easy to want to just turn that off and not go there and just say, oh, it's not going to happen to me. But the reality is, if you're that person, and a lot of the users are, myself included, if you're just going to turn off and not listen, it's not going to make you any more safe, because you're still going to find yourself on that powder day at that gate, and your friend's going to say, oh, it looks so good out there, let's go. And you're going to say, oh, I don't have my beacon, but just this once it'll be fine, So sticking the head in the sand isn't really going to make us more safe, but how do we deliver that information in a way that's going to help people want to have their own voice and be a participant rather than just following along, right? And then we wanted to make the scary non-scary, train for success, and then make it fun. So we added the yoga. We have an après ski party, and we do a big raffle, and we just try to bring in a lot of elements of silliness and fun throughout the day to take out that stigma of this has to be this cool macho thing, and also just to make it a day that we're going to want to do. 6 days out of the winter, we're going to want to spend our full day doing it, right? So we do the classroom, the on snow, and a lot of our classroom is geared toward decision making, a lot of the stuff that people have been talking about today. The airy course does a great job of covering the physical reasons why an avalanche occurs, and then also some of the human factors, those decision-making things that we get into. And then we put a lot of effort into making it an environment where there's no bad questions, really silly. We do a game that we call the Sorry game, where it's to help you kind of listen to your communication. And a lot of us had found that we were like, oh, well, sorry, is it okay if I just grab one of those free Cliff Bars over there on the free Cliff Bar table? And kind of pre-apologizing or apologizing unnecessarily. And so we have a rule the whole day where if anyone apologizes unnecessarily, you have to drop and do 10 push-ups. And it's in the middle of a speech, like if I accidentally said sorry, I'd have to do it. So it's amazing by the end of the day, people really, you start to see them tune in to how they're asking for stuff and how they're using their own voice in group dynamic situations. And it really helps, especially we found, maybe if you're in that situation, you're out in the backcountry and you don't want to speak up, if you practice using your voice in a way where you're not going to be unnecessary, just like, yeah, I'm going to take that Cliff Bar. You're aware of that. You see what I'm getting at. Okay. So we start with yoga in the morning, and that's because we like yoga, and it's because it's some exercise before we sit on our buns all day in the classroom, but it's also because it's really hard to feel embarrassed about asking whatever question you want to ask when you've been in a room, like breathing a bunch and having your feet in your neighbor's face and singing at the end. It just really kind of levels the playing field for everyone. It sets a great environment for along with the sorry game and maybe some silly icebreakers. It really helps set the tone for the day. We do the area curriculum, and then there's some extra stuff that we add, stuff that we've all found particularly helpful in our own Avalanche education courses. This is Michelle Parker and Elise demonstrating an Avalanche tilt board. Has anyone seen that ever? Super cool. It's just a way to give people a really good visual representation of an avalanche, because I think for everyone in this room, people can say, oh, listen to the mountains and watch and see. But a lot of the people that we're getting in our class don't even know what to look or to listen for in the mountains, right? So this is a really good visual representation. The different surfaces on the board represent different bed surfaces, and then she uses sugar and flour to represent different snow textures. There she is, being Professor Parker with her special glasses and having a volunteer assistant. So, and then here's part of the ARI course. There's Jackie Peso and Hannah Beeman talking about flux lines and beacon, or just general group rescue. And then some other things that we add in are, we work a lot on communication. And it sounds silly, like in Avalanche class, I'm going to talk about communication, but a lot of these things that Jordy and everyone has been talking about, a lot of these group decision-making, the human factors, comes down to communication in your group. And if I'm going to go out with my partner, and maybe it's someone that is a friend of mine, but I've never backcountry skied before, and I'm not sure about their beacon skills, the difference in me showing up and being like, do you know how to use your beacon? And potentially setting up, awkward scenario that I don't want to get involved in, or maybe some bad communication breakdowns later in the day. Or I could just say, hey, I'm just rusty. It's my first time out this year. Do you mind if I do a quick beacon practice right now with you? Would you be willing to do that? So it's just really little things of changing that communication around and trying to take out the macho thing and trying to lead by example the whole day of being like, my favorite backcountry partners are the ones where I've gotten there and said, I'm going to do a beacon check right at the trailhead, instead of being like, are you beeping? You beeping? Yeah, cool, we're beeping. So illustrating the differences between those little things that can make a huge difference in someone's day. We go a lot into the human factors. You guys are familiar with the FACETS acronym. It's Powder Magazine did a really good piece on their website, and they go into the 7 very common heuristic traps of human factors. So we go into those. We do a lot on case studies. We generally pick a case study in the area. We do courses in California, Washington. We've done some in Utah and Colorado. So we pick a case study, an example in those areas, and then we break into teams, and people study the case study from a avalanche perspective, from a physical, what caused the avalanche, and also from human factors, what might have contributed to the decision-making that ended in this scenario, and we do it very non-judgmentally, as I'm sure you can guess by now, but we very much try to put ourselves in that position of, this is us. Any one of us could have been the people making these decisions, and if we say, oh, they're dumb, they were doing that, I'm not going to put myself in a position of learning. I'm going to be judging. But if I say, oh, I could have been there that day, what might have I been thinking? Then immediately we're learning from those people's experiences. They've shared those experiences with us, and we're able to learn from them, and hopefully we can all improve from that. We do some communication practice, like we give people a scenario and we have them get with their partner and have to communicate about, oh, I really want to ski this line, and then you have to kind of talk them out of it, being their backcountry partner, and it gets super awkward. But that's what we're going for, these kind of awkward moments that you kind of simulate those decision-making times you have in the backcountry where you don't really want to open your mouth, you don't want to be that person, you have that powder arousal, you don't want to be the person that is the buzzkill. So simulating those types of things, and be a decision-making robot. You have the input in, and it gives you kind of that go or no-go, and you're not letting yourself get talked into that, oh yeah, we'll just do one more run, even though the temperature warmed up this much. A lot of that stuff, and then, bring in the avalanche dogs. That always makes everyone psyched. But no, Lel does a really great job of involving the local patrol wherever we go. She does a great job of subtly showing the women in our classroom that there are a lot of opportunities for women and young people to get into snow professionally. So that's great. And then here's some of our beacon practice in the rain. It looks like Washington. It's actually California. If we have time, we usually try to do a shoveling demo just to get everyone to feel how difficult it actually is to shovel a lot of snow. And then our entire afternoon is spent out on snow, and we do our best to train for success. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, I've used my beacon. I was super good in my living room. But that is so much different than being out in your boots, running around in the snow, with your gloves on, with your backpack, trying to manage all your gear. So we really work on people getting familiar with their own gear, being able to assemble your probe, your shovel, getting it all out and getting it all back in, not littering the scene, keeping a tight ship, keeping all your stuff in the same compartment of your backpack. Some really basic stuff, and then also bringing some emotion into it. We'll set up a scene, and we'll really run in and be like, oh, my friend was caught in an avalanche! And we act it out, and people go from being like, oh yeah, I totally got this, to being like, and they forget to put their beacon in search, and it sounds silly, but it's crazy the difference when you try to do a beacon, and probably a lot of you have had that experience. When you just simulate, you give yourself that little bit of extra real-life simulation, how it changes the group dynamics and your own decision-making in that moment. Well, I think that's it. Going forward, what's next? We originally started with all women in our clinics, but then we heard from a lot of women like, this is great, but I wish you were telling this to my boyfriend. So we started doing co-ed clinics, and it's pretty much exactly the same, but we have had a lot of success with that as well, so we're going to continue to do co-ed clinics going forward. We're going to work towards Safe As 2.0, maybe some more instruction involved. And then some of the challenges we've encountered are the time trying to cram a ton of information in a one-day course. A lot of people use it as an introduction, but a lot of people come back as a refresher, and it's a great way to start your season kind of thing, like just reset your brain, much like being here today, tune those Avalanche brains on for the year. And another thing we've had a lot of is student experience, where it's pretty clear on our website, but a lot of people show up, and maybe their ski and snowboard ability on a green run is actually, like, we're actually concerned about getting them down a green run, even if it's groomed on a ski resort. So it's great that the people that have maybe have minimal ski experience and have never even been in the backcountry are going to take a course first, but at the same time, I'm trying to say this, and we're preaching to the choir, I guess is what I'm saying. These people that are going to take an Avalanche course before they even have ever been in the backcountry, fantastic, but how do we reach the people that are like, no thanks, I don't want to come to an Avalanche class, I already know what I'm doing, right? So it's great that we get the students that we do, but trying to spread that information and reach the people that we're not reaching. And what have we learned? The beacon rescue drills all afternoon is the best thing. Drills, drills, drills. Hands-on practice is the best thing for helping people understand what the reality of a backcountry accident might be. Checking the forecast. In my house, we say, have you, did you NWAC it this morning? So that's just making sure that that's making it cool and funny or whatever you need to do to make it so it's okay amongst your group of backcountry partners. Talking about this stuff is one of the best ways we can all help make good decisions out there. And yeah, make sure everyone is in search mode. Yeah, thank you very much.
That was great. I think we're going to have to make a new t-shirt. Like, really. Are there any questions out there for Ingrid? Yeah. Oh, we got one.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a mic right behind you.
It's not a question, it's a comment. You are an educator.
Thanks, Patty. Just trying to be like you. Thanks, Patty. But yeah, if anyone has any comments or general feedback, let me know, because we'd love to hear it.
There we go, right down in front. Middle front.
Just curious how many of these workshops that you do per year, and who is teaching them, and do you have like a train the trainer program?
Oh, that's a good question. Right now, it's the 6 of us that instruct, and then we've started bringing in some snowboarders because we want great snowboard representation. And Lal Tone is our main instructor right now. So she's the one that teaches the ARI course, and the rest of us just kind of teach. But yeah, I think in the future, that's definitely something we'll have to bring in because, yeah, there's only so many places we can be at once.
Any other? Oh, we got one down in front. Oh, Deb's got a mic. She's coming in behind you from your right.
Hi, I was wondering if you had any advice on reaching out to people who are not taking AVI courses, perhaps because of financial restraints?
Yeah, that's a really awesome point. If anyone wants to come take our clinic, we do give scholarships. So we try to make sure every year that if anyone has a need, we have a scholarship program. But yeah, I think that's a great point. I think there's a lot of scholarship programs available. I'm more familiar with the ones in Tahoe because I knew a lot of friends when I was living in Tahoe that took advantage of them there. But pretty much every area has scholarships available, and I'm definitely going to do my homework and find out. Yeah.
I think there's a variety of scholarships out there, but yeah, that's something we could probably put together and put on a website.
Yeah, and we also refer everyone to future training and to scholarship opportunities, and yeah, but I think there's a lot of scholarship opportunities available out there.
I think we have time for one more in the back.
Yeah, kind of to piggyback on that last question, do you think that the people that are kind of more resistant to Avalanche training would be open to taking courses if they were offered at a significantly reduced cost or for free?
Yeah, I think that would get a lot of people. And then it's kind of, I'm not sure. Last year, for example, we had a course at Stevens Pass, and someone I know, he had paid for and enrolled his teenage son to do the course, and he just was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going. And I don't know if it was because it was taught by women. I don't know if it was a powder day, he wanted to do something. But trying to reach those people, I think some of it is a financial barrier, and some of it is, trying to make it cool, I guess. How do we make it cool?
Okay, one more question. Right there. Yeah.
It's a great question because I think you're the first entity in the pro realm. I mean, you're one of the greats, and everybody in that picture is one of the greats. And there's no male entity that does what you do. So have you found the ability to get more of the world's great free riders to do the same thing? Because I think that would help. I don't think it's as much of a financial thing as it is an ego thing.
Right. Great, thanks. That's a super good point. We have Cody Townsend helps with our co-ed, and I think that in the future we'll definitely bring in more. What? Yeah. Awesome, that's really great feedback. Thank you. All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Ingrid.